and monsters were attacking his place. John Freeman, who is Gordon Freeman's brother, was one day in an office typing on a computer. He got an email from his brother that said that aliens and monsters were attacking his place. All life consequences. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. Weapon, 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 weapon. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find me and help my brothers to defeat the enemy. Brothers to defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find me and help my brothers to defeat the enemy. Brothers to defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find me and help my brothers to defeat the enemy. Brothers to defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find me and help my brothers to defeat the enemy. Brothers to defeat the enemy. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. Weapon, 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 weapon. Your head crabbed on me, and the flies were singing. Your head crabbed on me, the birds and the sun were almost down. Your head crabbed on me, and the flies were singing. Your head crabbed on me, from the top of the sky. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. It's time for me to live up to my family name and faith. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. John Freeman said, thanks, I could help, bro.
Thanks, I could help, bro.
John Freeman said, thanks, I could help, bro.
Smoke as you hit the ground. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm not ready, 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 I'm not ready. Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you click the switch to change the scene? Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you manifest the power? Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you click the switch to change the scene? Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you manifest the power to make me scream? Hey Dominator, you're in control. Hey Dominator,
If I pop out my own chat, I could still use the pronouns extension. Good. How we doing, everybody? I am back.
Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you click the switch to change the scene? Hey operator, up on the screen. Can you manifest the power to make me scream? Hey Dominator, you're in control. Hey Dominator, I'll do what I'm told. Hey Dominator, up at the top. Hey Dominator, call the shot. I control, 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 I control.
Hi, baby! Hello! No. Hey, everybody. You know, I thought this big ol' heckin' hiatus was probably gonna be more than just a week long. So here's a celebratory pig style. I am the mental beast in your computer. Hello, how are we doing? Amps. How am I doing? I'm doing good. How you doing, Badger? Hell yeah. Hey, hell yeah, get those boots repaired. You know what? I like my music better. We have a couple minutes left. What should we listen to? What should we listen to? Hi, bestest boy. How you doing? 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 You know what? I have been re-released upon I'm like a second edition vinyl. I have been re-released upon the realm, so we're gonna listen to Head Rockin'. Interesting. So I will preface this with, I recently did have to switch over from Stream Elements, the bot, because it is broken. But thank you so much for the follow. Again. But yeah, so if anybody knows a different service that, like, isn't Streamlabs that, like, pops up notifications and shit, I'd be happy to use it because Stream Elements breaks a lot. I currently switched to Nightbot. I just haven't gotten any of the notice to pop up yet. I literally switched to it like 10 minutes before stream. I was tired of everything breaking. Ah, okay. Alright. Noted. Like, that's the only reason stuff like this works. Also, if you want to have more info on the species that I got something in my eye. There, exclamation point mantle. I am a mantle beast. Hello. Hop into the streams. Circle Gin looking ass. Baby. But, so, basically, I'm occasionally going to be switching VRMs just because I like doing VRM work. I find it neat. I find it fun. Ow, my eye. Owie, ow, ow. And, this mix. So, I like doing VRMs. So, sometimes in streams, okay, I really need motion. I will just be a different, why not? Oh. No, it's because this is a little teensy tiny fucking. And then also, I mean, technically this one. Actually, it's supposed to be like a service dog vest, which is funnier because I've I've done patches that are very relevant to me. Very, very relevant to me. Oh, hi. That's my ass. Or the front. And then boobies on the back. But yeah, this is Jack. Hey, and technically this one isn't out yet. Hickory is making God, even on a testing model, the fucking hand tracking is great. And then, of course, Keen, my boomer shooter. Ooh, I'm getting back in the swing of things. Ow, 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 my eye. Ooh. We'll mess with this up. Let's learn to yo. Alright, Vendetto, I love you, but please shut up.
The tip of that right.
Tip of that. Itsy! Hi, Hun. How you doing? Welcome on in. All of my notifs are broken. Like, I literally, like, switched over to Nightbot 10 minutes before stream because, Stream Elements bot is, unreliable, to be kind. So, everybody, today, we are going to learn how to be Yo-meisters. Alright? Oh, God. Which yeah, it's this one, all right. Okay, 1 second. I actually have to add I have to add a window to my definitely real operating system. You know, everybody's favorite cassette-based operating system, Broadcast 711. Da-da-da. Thank you. I was bluntly expecting this hiatus to be a hiatus and not just I need a week off to figure out some stuff about myself. Like the fact that I am genderless, agender, I am Oh. I love that I love that I use scenes for this kind of stuff. Na 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 na. Everybody, you ready to get yod? Thank you, Raph. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And bye. Also, I actually have my own chat popped out, so the pronouns extension finally works. Another thing I hate about OBS.
Welcome to the Yo-Mega Zone. In this program, we're going to show you how to get the most out of your Yo-Mega high-performance yo-yo.
The Yo-Mega
And
Zone.
to help demonstrate all of these tricks, we have some of the best performers in the world, including world champion Jennifer Baybrook, Guinness World Record holder Chris Yosik, and up-and-coming yo-yo star Eric Mitz.
This show is divided into segments so that you can get to the parts
Bro, I
that
thought your
most
hat was your
interest you.
hair.
The program is separated into 4 distinct sections: care and maintenance, basic
like a
tricks,
friend I had in high school.
intermediate, advanced.
If you'd like to skip ahead, simply
The category of advanced.
rewind the tape, zero the counter in your VCR, and use the time approximations to fast forward to the section that most interests you.
Why do these
If
both
you're a
look like
beginner,
people
or
I
this is
had
the
as
first
friends?
Yo-Mega yo-yo you've
Like, to an
purchased, we
uncomfortably
recommend
familiar
starting
level.
with the care and maintenance section. This section covers things like how to replace the string or lubricate the transaxle.
Oh?
Everything you need to know to keep your
Oh, she made a new pronoun system? Ooh, please link that in my chat if you have the link available. Please, I want to use that immediately.
Yo-Mega yo-yo in top condition.
But before we get started, here's 4 facts to impress your friends.
Don't worry, There's no quiz at the end of this.
Did you know that the word yo-yo is widely reported to have come from the native Philippine language Tagalog, meaning come come?
While some people say the yo-yo was developed in ancient China,
Okay, I'm gonna
the
have to,
first
like,
pictures of a yo-yo
switch
actually
through. I'm
appeared
basically
on the
gonna have to
sides of
revamp my
ancient
stuff.
Grecian urns.
But also,
The first
everybody, because I got tired of, well, so everybody, I made the mistake of trying to be like a 6-day-a-week streamer, which, bluntly, even just going by my voice, oh, right, hang on, 1 second, how do I, I'm gonna fix that. 1 second, I'm actually gonna put some music on and I'm gonna fix some stuff.
modern yo-yo was
Na, 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 na. And also, here we go. Don't know what I do know. Up, 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 up. There we go. I am going to make it to where people can post links on my channel. Trusted enough.
John Freeman, who is Gordon Freeman's brother, was one day in an office typing on a computer. He got an email from his brother that said that aliens and monsters were attacking his place. John Freeman, who is Gordon Freeman's brother, was one day in an office typing on a computer. He got an email from his brother that said that aliens and monsters were attacking his place. All life consequences.
Just for this once,
It's
I'm,
time for me to live up to
you
my
have,
family
like,
name
for,
and fame. All life consequences.
oh, just a sec, you have an opportunity to post that. Thank you so much. Because that is, like, really useful and
It's time for
helpful.
me to live up to my family name and fame. All life consequences. It's time for me to live up to my family name and fame. Weapon, 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 weapon. It's a good day to do what I'm
And then I'm gonna turn the link blocker back on.
defeat the enemy. Defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find the end of my brothers. Defeat the enemy. Defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find the end of my brothers. Defeat the enemy. Defeat the enemy. It's a good day to do what has to be done. Find the end of my brothers. Defeat the enemy. Defeat the enemy. It's time for me to live up to my family name and fame. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all.
Is that broken too?
It's time for me to live up to my family
Cool, all of my stuff is broken. Awesome. I love it. Wait, hang on.
You like kissing Green, don't you?
No, it's not! Ah! I found it! Hey, I found it, I found it, I found it! Hi, Wares. How you doing, hon?
It's time for me to live up to my family name and face.
Hi, Wares.
Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. It's time for me to live up to my family name and face. All life consequences. Gordon Freeman said it's time to end this once and for all. John Freeman said, thanks, I could help, bro.
Thanks, I could help, bro.
John Freeman said,
Alright,
thanks, I could
you know
help,
what? I
bro.
just feel like
Thanks, I
making
could
my
help.
system suffer.
Gordon
There we
Freeman
go. Let's
looked up
see
and said, no, no.
how good it is.
introduced in the U.S. around 1928, when Pedro Flores
I have to. I'm sorry. It's bothering me. I have to fix it. Yeah. Much better.
a Filipino man demonstrated and sold yo-yos in a San Francisco hotel.
Until 1984, yo-yos were pretty much the same as they were in 1930.
Until
Until Yomega introduced the yo-yo with a brain.
a brain? You could use that.
I don't like the concept of a yo-yo with a brain.
The brain is a plastic yo-yo with a centrifugal clutch, and it works this way. When the yo-yo is thrown hard enough towards the ground, the clutches separate and allow the yo-yo to spin freely. As the yo-yo slows down, springs push the clutches back together until they grab hold of the axle.
That is pretty
At
neat
this
tech.
point, the yo-yo winds up and returns automatically to the player's hand.
The difference is the transaxle. See, with a traditional yo-yo, the string loops around the axle. With a transaxle, such as a fireball,
I'm a no.
Yo-yo. Or you can flip your wrist again as you did before and send the yo-yo
Ooh, I got a
back
headache,
up
bro, and I
directly
asked her
over
to
your
bring me
head.
some ibuprofen.
be
when
extremely
it-
careful while practicing this trick. There is a very real danger of striking yourself or a spectator.
Before attempting this trick, make sure
You are not
So-
looking directly into the sun or other bright light.
What?
no obstacles
what?
such as tree limbs or lighting fixtures get tangled
Wait,
in your
what?
string.
Wait,
And-
wait, hang on.
If you
Hang
are
on.
No make
very
direct the yo-yo. Or you can flip your wrist again as you did before and send the yo-yo back up directly over your head.
Be extremely careful while practicing this trick. There is a very real danger of striking yourself or a spectator.
Before attempting this trick, make sure
You are not looking directly into the sun.
You just shouldn't look directly into the sun in general. Yeah. Somebody tell Batty.
Or
Somebody
other
tell
bright
Batty
light.
Beatrice.
no
Hannah.
obstacles such as tree limbs or lighting fixtures get tangled in your string.
And if you are indoors, be sure the ceiling is at least 10 feet high. If the ceiling is too low, kneel down before attempting the trick.
Also, you might want to wear
Wait,
your bicycle
I
helmet
misheard that. I thought she said she'll die before attempting the trick.
while learning this trick.
Vertical loops are the ultimate single-handed loop-the-loop.
Yeah, heartburn, I guess. Don't though. This is her face is me when you look directly into the sun, like a Gremlo.
maneuver. This trick is thrown exactly like loop-the-loop, except that you throw the yo-yo vertically straight up and down above your head. Again, be very careful not to hit your face when the yo-yo returns.
Oh God, no! Please,
You sound
no,
bomb.
no! The Oppenheimer's out. You can't. No.
Many experts consider is the most difficult single yo-yo trick of all. Start with an over-under mount, which means
Oh, we talk about over/under mounts.
you start by flipping the yo-yo over your left hand and under your right hand, followed by mounting the yo-yo on the string.
Hey, can I have your fit though? That's like gender as fuck, to be honest. The biggest fuck shirt and the heckin' pants.
Now, slide your left
rolled
hand down
sleeves,
below the yo-yo and pull
the
your left
the
hand straight
tied
up
over the belly.
and allow the yo-yo
Can I
to
have your
transfer
fit,
from one
please?
string to the other. Slide your left hand down
That
under
is
the
gender
yo-yo
as
again
fuck.
and slide
I don't
it
have
back
a
up,
gender. Well, I'm
allowing the
genderless.
yo-yo to again transfer from one string to the other.
Also, hi. That's the
To
big thing I
dismount,
had to
slide
process.
your
I'm
finger
agender.
out and
Hi.
lift your right hand straight up into the air. If you're really in the Omega Zone, you might enjoy finishing
If you're really in the Omega Zone, you might enjoy finishing.
this maneuver with a Ferris wheel dismount.
And then everybody died. Yeah, that's what they said.
Another variety of loop-the-loop is a three-leaf clover. First, throw a vertical loop upward. As it comes down,
She gets him.
don't catch it. Instead,
sir.
send it back out again, straight out
Bring
in
me
front
some
of you.
ibuprofen.
This time, as it returns, send it over the falls and
We're
catch
learning
it
how
on
to
the return.
yo. Where's no? Hey yo. It's like. Nah.
The dog bite maneuver.
Hey yo, baby, show me your dog bite maneuver. Yeah, I'm gonna mute a little bit. I just got food. Dog bite filth? Yeah. Bite filth. Don't explain why. Just go bite filth. So. Okay. I do really need that. Ibuprofen. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna mute for a little bit, chat, so I can eat my food.
When performed flawlessly,
Flawless bite.
seems as if the yo-yo actually bites your pants and hangs
Yeah? It bites your trousers, huh? Also, yes, please, with no explanation, go bite that wonderful blue idiot. Also, this is the most evil face I've ever seen. This is so evil. This is young Palp.
Things there. This is a difficult trick, but when performed properly, it's quite funny. Throw a fast...
It's quite funny, and definitely not weird. Definitely completely normal. It's just funny. It's not a sex thing. It's just funny. Let me bite you. I am completely normal. Let me bite you. I am completely normal.
Sleeper. Swing the yo-yo backwards between your legs and retrieve it in such a way that the spinning yo-yo catches on the back of your pant leg. Pulling on the string will release the yo-yo from its grip. Be sure to wear loose pants, and long pants are best.
Be sure to wear those loose long pants I got you.
Split the atom. In this trick, we start with the over-under mount, which means you start by flipping the yo-yo over your left hand and under your right hand, followed by mounting the yo-yo on the string. Slide your left hand under the yo-yo and move it halfway up the string. Then slide your right hand under the yo-yo and move it halfway up the string. Then spin the yo-yo forward 2 rotations. To dismount, pull your right hand up into the air and finish with a Ferris wheel dismount.
Hey girl, what's your Ferris wheel dismount game like?
Our final trick
Nope, I'm not gonna make the joke. Nope.
is known as two-handed loops. The key is to get the hang of looping with one hand first and then try looping with 2 hands. Practice looping with your non-yo-yo hand until you can loop as well as you can with your yo-yo hand. Once you get fairly confident of your ability to loop with your weak hand, begin practicing looping with both hands simultaneously. Time your throws so that one yo-yo is going out.
I unironically, legitimately might start dressing like this. This is, I like this fit, like a lot.
As the other is coming back. Proficient two-handed looping is a definite sign of a yo-yo master. Well, we've been all over today. We've seen basic techniques.
Hey yo, are you a yo-yo dom or a yo-yo sub?
Intermediate techniques and more advanced routines?
You've seen it.
You've heard about it.
Now there's only one thing left.
Do it.
Oh, that one was... Do it. Hey! Nightbot! What the fuck, Nightbot? Nightbot, you need to fucking chill. Hang on. Hang on, Nightbot, you're getting hammered. Wait. That... Oh, I had food and I immediately... hang on. That's gonna be a problem because I all caps all the time. Hang on, everybody. No, don't time out Nightbot. Nightbot. I'm gonna configure it. Fan protection. Disable. 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 There we go. Could someone, like, bottom text scream emote, please, for me? I need y'all to actually test it. Like, type like your mini kayak. Now, can someone who's not a moderator just spam a fuck ton of emotes, please? I love how I say type like mini kayak and y'all just fucking scream. Alright, we got it. Hell yeah. Bullet! Hello, welcome in, hon. Alright, everybody. So, we've learned to be a Yo Mega. Now it's time to, actually, you know, hang on. No, we did check. My redeems work. Hell yeah. Everything's going better. I just realized that, is that like an Omega? Don't invoke Alpha and Omega on this chat, please. Do not. Do not. Do not. So, chat, actually, since we've already kind of learned to be yo-yo masters, I will give you an option. Do you want to watch Mr. Baby Proofer 1992 or T-Bone's World of Clowning? A legitimate clown warning. Clown, clown, clown. All right. Hang on. Let me invoke this upon you. Oh, look! This operating system is based on cassettes, but it looks surprisingly fucking modern. What the hell? Oh, God. Immediately! Watch for a T-bone tickler at the end of the tape. It's a lot. Good. Twitch. I am a mantled beast who is agender that has the fucking polyamory and fucking pansexual pride flags in my AFK video. Homoerotic isn't gonna scare me. Jesus. Oh, no. I need to do something vital. I don't know how to zoom! This is T-Bone coming to get ya! He's gonna tickle your T-Bone! Run! He's gonna tickle your T-Bone! Okay, and back to the... You know, I realize how I am watching something called T-Bone's World of Clowning. I'm a Twitch streamer. This music is like extremely, I am at my fucking limit, but still have to smile. Hope not. I hope not. So chat, here's a secret. I don't watch these beforehand. Because I want to get just as fucking horrified as y'all.
Oh no.
Thank you, Mouse Smith, for protecting us. Wait, no, 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 wait. Wait. Now I get to do the bit, because it did it for me. Repetition is funny. It turns into an alive person. I wasn't expecting that. Why does it look like Spam did? Oh. Thick tights though. Dad, is this me trying to amuse you in VR chat? Yeah, T-Bone has been unleashed. It's me playing with boxes. Don't read into that. T-Bone, please stop stopping. Oh yeah, fuck it up, bro. Fuck it up, come on. Oh shit! I have just fully given myself to the madness. Wait, that's actually impressive. This is just a metaphor for me trying to keep chat active. Just me stimming when I'm bored.
Oh, hello.
You've been detected! Shit!
I'm T-Bone.
Hi.
I was practicing for the big clown show tomorrow here at the school. Say, maybe if you don't mind, I could practice with you as my audience.
Wait,
But first I have to find
as
my
your
book
audience,
on
okay.
the art of clowning. It's here a minute ago. Now, where did I put it? You wouldn't happen to know where my book is, would you? Where? I don't see it over there. It's where? No, I don't see it over there
This is just me
either.
getting one
now,
guy.
Where could it possibly be? Where? Up there? Oh no, you're not gonna fool me again.
I'm sorry, I'm a streamer. I'm gonna tie all.
Ouch! I guess you were right after all. And now, on with the show. Did you know that clowning has been part of our history for a long, long time? Some of the first
We've been around since the shadows lengthened. You'll never get rid of us. We're always here, always watching, always waiting for our opportunity.
clowns,
Opportunity for what? Well, that's for me to know and for you to never find out.
known as court jesters, entertained for kings and queens. They brought lots of smiles to their audiences, just like the clowns of today. let's take a look at some of the modern types of clowns
And
that you may
to
be interested in becoming. There are 3 basic types. The white face, and the Auguste, and the character.
Tag yourself. Tag yourself.
Just like playing a musical instrument or learning a new sport, being a clown is fun, but also involves hard work
And lots and lots and lots of arduous tasks, trials, and danger. You may not survive. In fact, you probably won't.
and practice. Some people are really unhappy with what they do for a living. Not me. I love being a clown.
Yeah, beats working for a living, huh, kid?
This is just how boomers talk about streaming.
What did I tell you about happy people? Here comes one now. I've got an idea. Let's cheer this guy up.
Look, we found our first victim.
It'll be hard work, but fun.
Hello, sir. You've been targeted.
Excuse me, sir. I'm T-Bone.
What are you, the new principal or some kind of dog food?
No, my line of work is clowning.
Clowning's
No, I'm a streamer.
not work. It's a red nose, baggy pants, and 50 midgets jumping out of a car.
Hey, yo, you can't say that.
This isn't going to be easy. I do believe you've lost your sense of humor, Mr.
Drab. Artie Drab. I've not lost my
fucking
sense
name
of
is Drab.
humor. I got work to do.
Is that famous E-Cloud German 985?
I don't have time to play. Would you say your name was?
T-Bone.
Ha! That's not a clown's name. They got names like Bongo or Bingo or something like that.
You don't know much about clowning,
Sir, you're a fucking idiot.
do you?
Well, no, I don't. I suppose you do?
My guy, he is literally a clown.
Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants. What have you got on anyway? You're not a real clown.
This is my combat outfit.
You're right. I'm a chicken.
Ho, ho, ho,
Come on, man.
ho, 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 ho. You are not a chicken.
What do I look like?
Well, you look like a clown.
That's right.
I always wondered what it'd be like to be a clown.
Well,
T-Bone disappointment. Imagine the scenario, but furry. Yeah. It's like, well, what do I look like? I don't know, some kind of bird? Oh god, I muted T-Bone.
like the present.
Sir, no!
Wow. How'd you do that?
Pretty well, thank you. Have a seat.
Oh, thank you.
Why aren't you sitting down?
I don't have a chair.
This is just me fucking around with people in VR chat. Oh no.
Take mine. What's the problem? Oh, I know.
Oh my god. T-Bone is actually like just an eldritch creature.
Boy, that was really
Holy
neat.
fucking
this
shit,
was really
T-Bone!
fun. Aren't you gonna sit down?
No, I stand, thank you.
Wow, look at all this stuff. What do I put on first?
First, you have to decide what kind of clown you want to be.
You mean there's different
I'm gonna be a Let's Player.
kinds of clowns?
Oh, yes. 3 types. The first type of
There's 3 professions, and then you get into the elite specs.
clown is the white face. The white face is
He looks incoherent.
sophisticated and graceful and has an
Hannah, this is just what I did to non-furry friends.
elegant costume.
But look how much fun I'm
The
having.
next type is the...
Augusti.
No, silly. A goose. The goose clown is the silliest of the 3.
Silliest of the 3! It's me! Vinny Kayat is the silliest of the 3.
They have very bright
Spirit.
colors and silly outfits and exaggerated mouths and faces and use
hey.
pink and red as their colors. And the third type is the...
You think there's like interfactional clown wars?
That's right. The character...
Persona!
They dress like different people.
Oh, like a policeman or a fireman or a cowboy or a hobo.
Artie, I do think you're getting the hang of this. What type of clown do you want to be?
What kind of silly idiot do you want to be?
And a goose.
I'm gonna be a fox.
Yeah, that's a type of clown for me. I like the white face makeup. Is it possible to combine the two?
That's the style of many modern-day clowns.
Oh, goody, goody. Oh, what's next? Oh, I like this nose.
I do appreciate that he's like excited and
that
like
one's funny. How about a wig? Do I need one? And what about those big feet?
Slow down, slow down. Remember, one step at a time. First, your face.
first your face. It disgusts me.
Lesson number 1, make sure your hair is out of your face and your eyes. And that can be done with a cap and pins.
And a what? And a what? And a what?
Next, make sure you get something for around your neck, because you don't want your neck to be all makeup-y.
I like this.
Artie, are you sure you haven't been a clown before?
No!
Like this.
No!
And this.
Wait. He's like, are you sure you haven't been a clown before? Or you're doing this real shit. Is that on purpose?
Next, take a gabagoopa of
It's a goop.
white clown makeup with these
Is that what we call it now?
2 fingers like this,
Gotta use 2 fingers. You always gotta use 2 fingers.
and rub it in your palm like this.
A gaba wada?
A gabagoopa.
Shut up, Kay's cooking.
Hey, it's turning shiny and getting warm.
Yeah? 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 Yeah?
That's how you know it's ready to be put on your face.
Fucking damn it! This is the best thing ever.
Rub your hands together like this, and then put it on your face like this.
Oh boy. Hey, I'm really getting the hang of this. Ooh, now for the nose.
Slow down, Artie. You should look into the mirror.
Wow, heartburn mood, but yeah, wow.
Here.
Huh? My face is all streaked. How do I get to look like you?
By tapping your face with these 2 fingers.
Gee, my face is getting smooth.
That looks good. Now you have to decide where you want your mouth to be.
Yeah?
It's right here, silly.
No, Artie, you're clown.
Have you tried putting these? You tried putting it on these? Artie, have you tried these? These what? These nuts?
Clown mouth. Where do you want your clown mouth to be?
You can't say shit like that. I'm in a degradation.
And what kind do you want to have?
You mean there are different kinds of clown mouths?
Yes, there are. There are mouths that make you happy.
Yeah, there are.
There are mouths that make you sad. There's small mouths and mile-wide mouths.
Ooh, I like the one on the top left. How do I put it on?
First, we need to take off the makeup where you want your mouth to be.
Well, why didn't you tell me that before I put it on?
Let's use cotton gauze and remove the makeup where you want your colors to be. We can use Kleenex and also cotton swabs, like that. We can also do the same thing with eyebrows and anywhere else you want your color to be, like stars, tears, and flowers.
Hey, I look like a pumpkin.
Looks at you in orange and very dark purple. You look like a pumpkin, my guy. It's a very pretty flower, though.
Am I ready to put colors on now?
First, you need to powder your makeup. The powder sets the makeup.
Oh, here's the powder. Like this?
You really just wanted that all over your face, my guy.
Not exactly. Try this.
This is much better.
Now, take a deep breath and hold it. We don't want to breathe in the powder, do we? It's important to be safe. Isn't that right, Artie? Artie? Artie, it's okay to take a breath once the powder's on.
Now you tell me.
You almost killed
Now
Artie!
let's brush off the excess powder.
What? Will you make up your mind? First on, then off.
Not exactly. Try this.
Oh.
Alerting HRT, alerting how much makeup sucks. Oh my god. How expensive makeup is. Oh my god.
To put the colors on, you can use your finger.
You must complete the ritual.
Voters, a brush, or an eyebrow pencil.
Like this?
That's right. After you get your colors on, you can use the eyebrow pencil to outline everything, and the colors will look neat, even to put on your eyebrows.
There. What's next? Ooh, don't tell me. Powder, right? I bet it's a good idea to use different powder socks for the different colors. Right, T-Bone?
Good point, Artie. Can you tell me what part of your face
Artie
is
has
next?
been doing this
I don't know.
on the clock.
That's it. You know.
Well, there's so many to choose from. Oh, I like this one. Hey, how do you get these things to stay on?
With fish line, elastic string,
It's in her Hulk soda.
and
No, don't call it Hulk soda, no!
spirit gum, which works like glue. There are several kinds of wigs that can be found in magic, clown, and wig shops, or you could make your own from things at home.
Like this?
Oh my god, that's actually entirely, utterly horrifying.
Artie, time to put these things away.
Whoa! Boy, I wish you'd warned me before you do that.
What do,
Time for costumes, costumes, costumes. Walk this way.
This way.
This is VR chat. This is VR chat. Oh my god, this is VR chat.
Wow, look at all these costumes. There's a one-piece costume.
One Piece is real.
Oh boy, does that look neat. Oh, look at the red pocket and the little hat. I like that. Oh, is that one of those hobo costumes? Oh boy, I'd look real
You
stupid.
got me. Cat, I've just been handed ice cream and it's called Wolf Tracks. I'm gonna try it. I can't open it. It's called Wolf Tracks. I'm gonna curse y'all with more T-Bone.
That one. What else you Big shoes! Wow, those are like boat.
Big fucking shoes! Holy shit. That's real go- Yeah, you could, yeah, sure, of course. That's like probably my favorite fucking ice cream. It's real goddamn good. Who knew Wolf Tracks tasted so good?
Look at that. This is fun. I like this. What else you got, T-Bone? Oh
flavor
boy,
is it?
those are really.
It's on the lid. Okay, let's look at this. Yeah, I got big damn feet. Chocolate fudge, peanut butter cups, cocoa, premium vanilla ice cream with peanut butter cups and chocolate fudge.
Silly looking shoes.
Bed's the VR chat bed's in here. Hang on if you want. Get a bit more comfortable.
Oh, there's one of those hula hoop ones. Woo-hoo.
That is my friend realizing that basically everything on my avatar has jiggle physics.
These are just some of the types. You can mix and match. Let your imagination work with you. Which type do you want?
I am live on Twitch.
I like this one.
But Artie, it's empty. Oh, you're gonna let your imagination work with you.
Oh, you're being a little shit. Oh yeah, Moose Tracks is the normal one. This one is because our university, the local university is the NC State Wolfpack. I'm gonna make the joke again. Who knew that Wolf Tracks tasted so good?
You.
Yep.
Good for you.
Well, see you later. Oh, alligator.
After a while, crocodile. Wait a minute, Artie.
This really is just hanging out in VR chat now.
Hey, where you going?
I got work to do.
Oh, you gonna finish cleaning up?
No, I gotta find a costume.
Days. It's going well. It's going well. It's going well. We're watching How to Clown. Also, hi sir. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I was just seeing what they said.
Okay, let me start a side stream for you.
Okay. Okay, meets you.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just watching some hanging out in VR chat.
I can't wait to see what Artie comes back with. Can you? Well, I think I'll practice my tightrope walking now.
Yeah. Also, thank you for the follow. I'm currently in the process of basically kicking Stream Elements to the curb because their bot was broken more than it wasn't. Yeah, it's real comfy. Clowns. You know, I think I'm realizing that I'm not as freaked out by clowns as I thought I was. I'm freaked out by evil murder clowns, though. Yeah, I switched over because Streamlabs did the thing that they apologized for, but I'm gonna look into more stuff. I would like my notifications to actually work. This is also me not realizing, but just acknowledging that I am an internet clown. Yo, those are actually some good moves, bro.
I have a cat in my lap that is starting to smell the ice cream.
Okay. That's like the third person who's recommended Sammy. I'm gonna look into Sammy. Yeah, T-Bone? Yeah, it is. Wow, immediately goes to violence.
Hi. You.
Yep, this is just VR chat. Just VR chat.
And a clown, too.
That's right. And you're an acrobat.
I'm really Brian, the gym teacher. Acrobatics is my hobby. You must be here for the school show tomorrow.
Right you are. I'm T-Bone.
I've always wanted to learn about clowning.
Really? Acrobatics is a skill I'd really enjoy doing. Let's make a deal.
Another's indoctrinated to the furry fandom.
I can't be a clown. I can't do anything clownish.
Sure you can.
I'm a
Many
serious
clowns
person who
specialize
only
in
does
just one
serious
thing,
things.
like playing a musical instrument, storytelling, roller skating, and even magic. You could be an acrobatic clown.
I never thought of that. I wonder what type of clown character I could be.
Using a costume first can be a way to find the clown in you.
I like this one.
You know, when somebody asks me what being a furry is like, I'm just gonna start saying it's unleashing the inner clown within you.
What about makeup?
Oh god, we're getting magicked again. You made him be a cop. You made him be a cop. You made him be a cop. You made him be a cop.
I don't think I'm quite ready for cartwheels yet.
We'll begin with the basic forward roll. Like this.
A cab includes clowns.
Remember to tuck your head in.
Here I go.
Perfect!
A cab includes C's. Jesus fucking shit!
Watch out!
It's a combat drone!
And it's coming right towards us.
I'm getting out of here!
Not me, you're not.
They both died.
Death.
Death.
You silly clowns. That was just a balloon.
She thinks I'm a clown, too.
Army friend puts on a furry avatar. Like, oh my god, they think I'm a furry too.
Laney, you're under arrest for letting all of those animals out of the zoo. Who are you, anyway?
Immediately threatens. Yeah, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
your student, Jennifer.
T-Bone here, and this is Brian, the gym teacher. Say, where did you get all of these balloons?
I just looked in the telephone book under balloons, stores, and magic.
If you teach us how to make balloon animals, we'll teach you about clowning.
It's a deal. First, you'll need a balloon. Stretch it.
You know,
And
besides the
like
cop
this.
bullshit, this is actually precious.
Yeah.
Boy, this is hard to blow.
Here, try this.
This is a lot easier.
Now let a little air out before you tie a knot.
Thank you for hydrating. Thank you for it.
Squeeze it here and twist so the air can't get out. Make 2 more bubbles, then twist them together here.
God, I love these video toaster ass
That
graphics.
makes the first group of 3.
Hey, I can see a head and ears.
Make another bubble, the neck. 2 more, make the front legs. Twist them here, lock them in place. One long bubble makes the tummy.
This is just a tutorial.
Too small.
The cursed funny shit, please.
That's right, T-Bone. There are all sorts of animals you can make, like a horse,
Horse moment.
a rabbit.
Rabbit moments. This is just me making. Oh, this is just me making a. Yeah. Hey, hands.
Even a mouse.
Oh my God! It's Zarix again.
Even a mouse.
Enjoy your looky look.
Time for our part of the deal.
I don't like how you said that, T-Bone.
How did he do that?
He's a dark eldritch being.
You well, if you ask me. Say, Jennifer, I'll teach you some acrobatics
I
if you
think
teach
Catherine
me some more
Raydu did a
about balloon
video
animals.
on. No, Catherine Raydu did a video
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
just general
I forgot
video
that you're
editing,
in a
like
wheelchair.
hardware devices.
Don't feel bad. I know I can't do it myself, but what I learned from you, I can share with my friends. So come on, Flippo.
They made it. Oh, that's actually precious.
Boy, I haven't had this much fun in a long time. Artie, that's a great costume.
Oh, are you talking to me? I'm not Artie.
Artie, you look like a political cartoon.
I'm the magnificent, a charismatic Arte, the juggling clown.
Oh, you're a squeaker suitor. Cool.
I didn't know you knew how to juggle.
Artie, I didn't know your ass squeaked.
No, I don't. That's why you're going to teach me.
Okay, first thing you have to do is put both arms up in the air.
Say goodbye, God.
Now you know where your imaginary points are. Next, you need to take one ball and to put it in your right hand.
This is actually really
Your
helpful
other
to learn how to
right
juggle.
hand. Now, let me get mine too. Good. You have one, and I have one. Okay, let me put it in my right hand. That's great. Next, throw back and forth like this.
Wait, what did you say?
Okay, let me put it in my right hand. That's great.
You just viciously mocked Artie.
Next, throw back and forth like this. A little higher. Make sure you hit those imaginary points. That's good. Okay, next, let me get you another one. There. Back and forth like you did before. Great. Let's add ball number 3 and make sure you get those points.
He just had a moment of visceral silence as he contemplated his future fate.
Hey, I'm a natural.
Artie, your juggling is really coming along.
Oddly,
Oh, really?
hello,
That's a
hon.
wonderful
How you doing?
surprised look on your face.
Ooh, I'm just...
And that's a terrific sad face.
I didn't know I could make different kinds of faces.
I didn't know I could outwardly express emotion. Thank you, T-Bone. Ooh, that is neat.
I thought my face was painted on. Ooh, what other faces could I make, T-Bone?
Shy.
What other motions can I show?
Be angry.
Wow, I don't know how to be angry.
You don't know how to be angry? I wish. I fucking wish. It's 20 fucking 3.
Angry.
I don't know how to be angry.
Be angry.
I don't know how to be angry.
Gotta do
You
it
also gotta
again.
be loud.
I gotta do it again. I'd recommend tuning into I gotta continue the endless bit.
Natural. Surprised. Didn't know I could make different kinds of faces. I thought my angry. I don't know how to be angry. Be angry. I don't know how to be angry.
Oh, Artie, you look scared. What's the matter?
What are those? And where
What are
did they come?
those?
Those are balloon animals.
Those are my friends. Those are my other OCs.
And they come from balloons like this. Jennifer and Brian must have left them.
You mean one balloon can make a critter?
Now, you ready to start?
I'm ready to
Now,
start.
the first thing you have to do, hold on to it.
Okay.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Jennifer.
You mean flip ball?
Oh, holy shit, bro.
Clown names. That's fantastic. Oh, excuse me. This is the magnificent, charismatic Artie, the juggling clown. You guys look so
Artie,
great. I can just imagine
Arte,
you. in
you
the
are a
center
political
ring
cartoon. I'm sorry.
of the big top.
This is when you find a new public world in VR chat. And you realize with dawning horror that it's a public instance.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing some of the greatest clown routines of all time, here are the stars of the show.
Okay, this is legit just the routine. Okay, cool. So, now... Ooh, we're gonna watch...
Yes.
We're gonna watch something called Mr. Baby Proofer 1992. Or... let's see what else I got. Oh, God. Let's see. Algebra tape. Oh God, fucking Asian K91. I am very... 1996, let's go! Internet.
The Internet and Online Services. Introduction.
And after this, we're going to watch a couple
The
episodes
Internet.
of...
A vast global network of computers with
Oh, what
information
happened?
and resources on virtually every subject. Whether you are a student doing research for a class project or a professional gathering information on
aggressively
a
fit my
client
new
or
aesthetic as
competitor,
well.
the
I love
Internet
them
can
too.
help you with your task. Do I have to be a computer geek to use the Internet? No. While it is true that it used to be an unfriendly environment, so many people are now online that the Internet has become easier to use. With today's graphical web browsers and mouse-click
can't
access,
see because of the
learning is a
resolution.
breeze. Don't be intimidated by jargon or technical terms. This presentation is designed to show you how to
this
choose
Wolf
an
Tracks is
Internet
so
connection for
good.
yourself and introduce you to some useful resources once you are online. Okay, so what type of information is on the Internet? The Internet is made up of thousands of individual computer networks, which are each identified by a different name. For example, NASA's computer network on the Internet is nasa.gov. Let's take a closer look at that name.
Take a closer look
NASA
at that,
is the name
Earl.
given to the network by its operators. The last three-letter extension, gov, tells us what category this site falls into. Internet network.
I love that this exists and it's a time capsule because now shit like .gay and .fun. Hey sir, if you know where any nose spray is, can you find it for me? I can't breathe through my nose now.
I do not, sadly. Last time I did look, I found one that was like almost empty. I'm
I
sorry.
just need some, please.
Okay, I'll look.
Thank you.
Down.
Networks inside the United States are assigned three-letter extensions based
Yeah,
on
it
the
is
following
interesting, chat,
categories.
because like every time I start like talking
Education.
a lot, like on
Most
stream,
major
it doesn't matter what I'm
universities
doing.
have
If
at
I'm sitting
least
at the
some
computer and
information
talking a lot, I
posted
get
on the
congested.
internet, which includes papers and studies, as well as research tools. Educational network sites are given an EDU extension. Government. These networks include all
Yeah. I also love that what I thought this was
government.
Was just the word government with zero context.
These networks include all types of government information, including any government libraries or research centers. Government sites have a GOV at the end of their names. Commercial.
A full package.
Commerce
Hell
on
yeah,
the
thank you,
internet
sir.
is one of the fastest growing sectors.
Oh, yes, please. Or I'm going to eat it all. I can't close it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna blast my nose, everybody. Give me a second.
Segments. This can include everything from car dealerships to computer companies. Any commercial internet network is assigned a COM suffix. Organizations. Non-profit and special interest organizations on the internet, such as Greenpeace, are given the three-letter extension ORG. Military. Although some of these sites fall under the GOV suffix, certain military organizations are recognized with the MIL extension. Foreign sites. Computer networks outside the United States do not usually use the three-letter suffixes. Instead, they use their two-letter country code as their suffix. Section 2. Parts of the Internet. The services on the Internet are divided into different categories. Here are brief explanations and examples of the facets you are likely to use. Email. This is the most popular use of the Internet. Simply put, email allows you to send and receive messages to and from different people all over the world. You will also find
like I
that you
just
can
got my
join
nose in a
mailing
pool.
lists, which provide you with
Hell
useful
yeah, get some ice
information
cream.
on many subjects.
Oh, also, if you heard, like yesterday, I mentioned that really ominous message from, my apartment complex that literally just said, "Our pool must close by dusk." I read the full message, and it's even more ominous because, it's like, there's lots of typos in it, and, like, the only information is that the county forced them to close the pool. And it's full of typos, and it looks like something you'd see in a horror movie.
FTP. File Transfer Protocol. FTP allows the user to...
Yeah, it was, like, actually really ominous. I think the last time they put out a message like this, it literally just said, "The Bloodmobile is here!"
Access...
And that was the entire message.
Internet computer networks, which serve as
I'm talking about
libraries
that
of
message we
computer
got from the
software.
apartment complex.
Using FTP, you can copy
Yeah,
this.
the one where they literally were just like, "Hey," like I'll forward you the email, but it was literally just like, "The county says the pool must close at dusk. Closing times will not be extended." And then like, it was full of typos and shit, and it looked like something from a horror movie.
Software to your computer for your own use.
Yeah, it was ominous as fuck.
World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is a collection of internet resources presented on full-color
So
computer
I will let y'all
network
in on
sites.
a secret. The assets for OrdCost, the stream like operating system assets, are literally just this inverted. It's Windows 95, but the colors are inverted.
It's called Pages.
And then some of my own
These
stuff.
pages contain text and pictures, even sound. The World Wide Web is the fastest growing part of the internet. news groups. What are your interests? No matter
What are your interests? What do you like? What are your weaknesses? What are your glowing weak points?
what the answer is, you will probably find groups of people on the internet who share them.
Like
I
furries.
do
You can
not
post your
like
ideas
the
and comments
background
to these
haze
people
to
using
this
news groups,
video.
which are a kind
cracklies?
of global bulletin
Yes.
board.
That's just VHS. I'm sorry, sir.
All this with no
long is
long-distance
that?
charges.
It sounds like
Information
my
can be gathered
tinnitus.
from all over
Oh,
the
do you want me
globe.
to switch videos then, sir?
No,
Okay.
I might just go off and do something else.
Okay, that's fine.
All this video.
Chat, since Sir said that, is the crispiness bothering any of y'all? Because I will just switch over to uh-oh. I might switch over to uh-oh anyway. Kind of like actually informative. Yeah, we're switching. Oh. We're switching over to uh-oh.
Hello there, ma'am. On my down.
80 videos? Hello? Why are they all up into segments? Oh, I see. Uh-oh, game show full of episodes. Oh. Yeah, it is. It really is. Enjoy your burp. We're just gonna start down the list.
What do you say when your best friend gets a pimple that waves and says hello?
Call the government? Hi, Ospie.
Hello.
You wanna ride to a place that's live where the music is pumping to make you vibe with there's always something new around the corner. Gonna play a little
egg.
Did you give it the egg? I should have worn a bra today. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm moving and bouncing around a lot. I will leave it at that. Yes, sir's in the call as well.
And now, please welcome the one.
Speaking of kitties, something is coming out and being released very soon. This is a test version of it. But see, Ospie, the thing about that is, they get sore. Allah.
Fun and lonely, Weak Yahoo!
It's David Tennant, but wrong.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Voice Man. That's right, I'm just a famous guy with too much time on my hands.
Shut up.
It's time to meet the Masters of Mayhem, Slashing Sam, and Terran Aaron.
We've got some serious shooter.
You got some blue balls there, Sam and Aaron.
Yeah, it's gonna fly big
Ospie,
time.
that's not stream stuff. That's not stream stuff.
Now let's meet our quiz master, Patricia.
You can earn some major points with some quick thinking here at Speed Round.
Oh, well.
When it's directed at a specific person,
All right, let's see who's going for the grand prize.
Beaming in blue are Rahat and Aileen. Green and gritty are Mohammed and...
So, given what we've learned about clowns, is Wink Yahoo is Wink Yahoo a clown or just a bad influence?
Linda! And rocking in red are Lauren and Christian!
Oh, yes!
Oh, yes!
And they are ready. Now it's time to meet the Punisher. Punisher, control!
Yes, control!
And naughty Punisher.
Don't say naughty Punisher. Stop it.
Now, Mr. Voice Man, please talk to us about the prizes, will ya?
For our grand prize winners, a JVC Kaboom Box. Your music
Yo, hello.
will be delivered with 60 watts of power through twin super woofers and twin ducts for rock bottom basses. All the features you want, including remote control from JVC. For our first runners-up, CCM hockey jerseys. CCM is the official licensee of the National Hockey League. CCM is the original, authentic. Second runners-up will be taking home a Mickey Unlimited watch from Timex.
Wow,
A watch for all
damn.
ages, because having fun never goes out of style. From Timex.
Oh, who will it be today? The Reds, the Greens, the Blues? The games begin right after this.
Hey, after this commercial break. Wow. Well, yeah, it's from the 90s.
Oh,
Osby.
welcome
It's
back,
from the
everybody.
90s and
Joining me at the big
2000s.
wheel are Rahat, Mohammed, and Lauren. And their partners, Eileen, Linda, and Kristen, are standing by with the Punisher. Oh, yeah. But before we spin the wheel...
Osby, it's funny you say that because this show is from Canada. This is Canadian. Like, I've only seen this on YouTube.
Let's look at the rules, shall we? Each spin of the wheel can alter your points, force you into messy activities, pose you some quick quizzes, or result in all sorts of unpleasant surprises. Mayhem, speed round, or the dump. What are they gonna get? Let's see. Blue.
Do you think when Yahoo just, like, after he leaves and ends filming, does he just wash that, like, liter of hair gel out of his hair, or does he just till the next shoot?
Get up here and spin that wheel, baby. Yeah. Rahat with a big spin.
Come on!
Rahat's first spin of round one. And round, oh, could it be? It is. Oh, right off the top of the show.
Because he is,
Rahat, I got
Osby.
a question for you.
Because
You
he
get it
is.
right, you get 50 points. You get it wrong, there's some dumping going on. Here we go. Whoop. Where is the tallest fountain? Fountain Hills, Arizona, Fountain Valley, Alberta, London, England, or Perth, Australia?
Paris, Australia.
Your accents got progressively worse, Wink Yahoo, as time went on.
You say Perth, Australia, you are absolutely wrong. It's Fountain Hills, Arizona.
Yeah, go.
The jet of water can reach 190 meters and travels at 236 kilometers per hour. Punisher.
I like when it push slowly.
Yes, the show is Canadian. This didn't air in America very much.
Thank you,
This is from
Rahat.
Canada.
Back to your spot. Let's keep it moving.
Actually, a lot of like kid shows, especially Nickelodeon kid shows, originally were from or are from Canada.
Green's up here to spin the wheel. Let's go. Mohammed up here to spin that, baby.
Whoa, that kid is getting way too hype in the back.
Oh, yeah. No. Mohammed going around, and you are going to the dump, sir. Let's move.
Come on, Mohammed, go to the dump. Take this ball going up there.
It's
Hit
got
the
chip
button,
on.
See what you can get.
Well, no, it's Plinko, or whatever it's called.
Let's see. And you lose 25 points, which you do not have.
That's right, Patricia. No points to lose. You can't go into the negative here on O, so he stays at 0. Now it's time for Red to get up here and spin the wheel, so let's go,
Oh,
Lauren.
so that's like the one rule in the show that makes
There
sense.
you go. All right, Lauren. Round and round it goes, and look at this. It is going to be me.
Love that shark.
So this alien lands in my
Whoa,
room,
that is
talks down
terrifying.
on all my
Oh.
toys. The nerve! What I want to do is get in there, get out all 8 of my toys, put them in that little bowl over there, and I'm gonna give the red team 50 points. Are you ready?
Wait, what do you,
Go!
wait, what are we doing? Wait, what? What are you, what? I mean, honestly, considering this is like a 90s kid show, they probably
50
filmed like
points
40
it
at
is.
once.
Good
in one
job, Red.
shoot.
50 points are on the board, and let's keep it moving. Right to blue.
They might do what like Jeopardy did or whatever, or the Wheel of Fortune or whatever, the spelling one, where they would literally like film an entire season over the course of like 2 or 3 days and then just have the rest of the season off.
For the second spin of the first round, so Rahat, get up here and spin that wheel. Let's go. And there it is.
It was either 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3
points, buddy. You want to
weeks.
get
I
on the
can't
board,
remember.
so let's see what the spin's going to get for you. Here it goes. It's up. Oh. The Punisher's having a busy day. Rahat, here we go. You know the rules. 50 points if you get it right and nothing if you get it wrong. What animal has the biggest eyes in the world?
Me when I'm hungry.
Is it the giant squid? Tasty. The elephant? The chihuahua?
Wink, shut up.
Or the blue whale?
The blue whale.
You say the blue whale.
Skyco! Thank you so much for the raid. I'm so sorry that all my notifs are broken. But everybody, go check out Skycoat. Skycoat is delightful. Oh, cool. It doesn't take my fucking. Bleh. You know what? Go check out the Delightful Wolf.
You are wrong. It's the giant squid. If you had eyes like them, your face would have to be available to contain.
Hi, Skycoat. Hi, Motley.
What am I, Chuck Squid?
Oh,
sir, don't bully
That's
me
what
like
Chuck
that.
Squid looks like. I don't think I'm gonna have any. Thank you. All right, Rahat, back to your spot. No points for you. But Green getting up here. Mohammed with a spin.
Yeah.
Just like that. Don't worry about it, buddy. Don't worry about it. Good spin.
So, my brain stopped. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working on switching all of my stuff over to Sammy. Any stormtroopers were bullied? Ooh, you were playing Cal Kestis with the Millennial Beard game. Did I survive? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You got no points right now.
Sauce me.
Right back here. Don't ask me how, but somehow my sister's dolls, the heads of them, dropped inside.
What?
This pool, okay? There's 5 of them in there. Your job is to dive on in there and get all 5 out, put them in the
I'm
bowl.
gonna switch
20
to
seconds,
Sammy.
your team gets 50.
Also, now what I can do is there's my sked. There's my fucking sked. And there's Ver.
You like kissing Green, don't you?
Osby, that's the point. It's like sensory overload the show. But yeah, I have my sked, and then I have Meep, hi.
Points. Are you ready?
Yes.
Get set, dive in, go! Come on, Linda. Come on. There's one, baby. There's one. Get him wet. Get him wet. There's 2. There's 2. You got him. There's 3. Come on. Where's the 4th one? There's the 4th one. You know, one more. One more. One more. How much time we got left?
It's sensory overload, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. 1, 2.
You turned the blood red water pink. How?
Oh, look at that. Good job, Linda. Got everybody wet, but Wink, no points for the green team.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No points for.
Do you think she just realized she wasn't gonna get any points? She's just like, I'm gonna fuck up as many people as I possibly can.
Green. Too bad, so sad. I'll have to get him later on in the game. Now it's time for Red to step up to Lauren. You got.
Oh, also, Osby. Let's chill on the flirting and the autism and the homosexuality jokes, please. There we go.
At 50, you're in the lead. Go for it. There you are. Lauren with her second spin. She's got the lead right now. It's going round and round, and it's going to be on Mayhem.
Come on over here, Kristen. Nice to see you again. Now here, the local baseball team needs a new mascot, and they've decided on a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah?
What I want you to do is to dump the ketchup, the relish, and the mustard all over yourself. Get yourself covered and jump into that hot dog bun. If you can do that, you're going to get yourself 50 well-cooked points. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go! Come on over here. Let's go. Oh,
Cover yourself in grossness and then jump at this cut in half mattress.
All over, baby. Now the ketchup. Let's go. Rub it all over your body.
They gave him what? 30 seconds to get all fucking nasty?
Here we go. Now the mustard. Get the mustard. Here we go. Get it right over your head. That's
Be
it.
hot dog
Rub it.
when you can
Cover
beat the
yourself
dog.
in that bun and cover yourself up for 50 well-cooked points. Boom. We have a winner. 50 points for the red team.
Probably because, like, he's just moved on. Like, Osprey, keep in mind, they're kids. They're basically using kids for, like, gaming entertainment.
All right.
Good job, good job. Hey, I don't know about you guys.
Safety standards are higher, and standards in general are just higher. Yeah, liability. What else are they good for? Oh my god!
But I'm getting a little hungry. All right, let's look at the standings, shall we? Blue, right now you got 0 points. Muhammad also, green's got 0
Applebee's
points.
gift card,
and red,
yeah.
Lauren, 100 points for the lead right now. But we got 2 rounds to go. Mr. Voiceman, how about announcing one of the grand prizes coming up in the future?
Future grand prize winners will express themselves in the half-pipe and terrain park, or Carson Extreme turns to their favorite ski hill with a pair of snowblades by Solomon.
That's a cool logo.
Solomon, the #1 name in mountain sports equipment.
Cool prizes. Hey, stay tuned. The Slime Tour is in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, right after this.
We're going to Victoria!
All right, let's join the Slime Tour in Victoria.
I've never realized that they, like, chant the location name.
Oh, beautiful wildlife. Hey, look.
It's a Cody. It's a Cody. I'm pointing at you, but my hands aren't cooperating. It's a Cody.
Look at that. You
Hi, hon. How you
hear
doing?
those birds? I think it's a snipe. Or no, it might be a chickadee. I don't know, but either way, we're going to find out in a little game that we like to call...
Birdland? You mean just bird Twitter? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm happy to be back streaming. Even happier to be back so quickly.
Your first task is to make a bird egg omelet. Now, we've
Yeah?
got eggs and we've got frying pans. Just fill
Yeah?
the frying pans by sitting on the eggs.
Osprey, what am I gonna do for maximum effort right now, hon? I'm actually gonna redeem you for that. Or, yeah, I'm gonna refund you for that, because there's not really anything to do, and then I'm gonna turn it off. Oh. Hey, Osprey. Hey, can you just chill just a
Great
little bit,
job.
hon, please? Just a little bit, please. Thank you for the hydrate.
Cracked all 5 and it's off to see Kristen.
Birds are so messy, their poop just gets everywhere. Hey,
Yeah?
ask these guys. Clean their faces off so you can at least see who you're dealing with. Fill your pails, and then it's off to Aqua. She's got a bird rescue mission for you.
What? Oh my god! You see the baby you'll be saving up for now?
Oh, I lost my egg and I lost my spoon.
Oh, it's like a luchador mask, but fucked up.
Egg.
Thank you for the egg!
I need you to help me find my egg and my spoon. Put the egg in the spoon and then run to the finish line. But be careful, don't break my baby.
It does two funny numbers.
Let's find out who our bird watchers are
6969.
today.
Oh, the eat one? That just makes me eat. Like, literally, it makes... Jesus, evil Emily!
who our bird watchers are today,
Yeah? 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 Oh my god! Jesus, Evil Emily. I love the kids just solemnly looking on in the background.
Hey, what's up? I'm Joey Jive.
You're Joey Jive? Yeah?
They covered in crap.
Hang on, you what? What? What?
And I want to get started.
Hang on.
Hey, I'm Superstar. I'm gonna win. You guys are going down. Woo! Hey, what's up? I'm Joey Jive. They covered in crap. Slime showing one of the doors. Oh.
You're gonna get covered in crap and slime and then try to win?
All right, guys, you've seen the teams. Now it's time to vote. If you choose right, I'll give you 35 points. If you choose wrong, it's zip and you do da day. Nothing for any of you. And while you vote, let's see what they're playing for.
Oh, that's right. This part is just Gamba.
For our slime tour winner, a color printer from Lexmark. For school reports and home projects, Lexmark
Cool, you
printers
could get
add
a-
up.
you could get a
Print
printer.
Lexmark and come to your own brilliant conclusion. Runners up will look sweet in starter replica NFL jerseys, as worn by professional teams.
Oh boy! I
More
mean,
than any
it's
other brand. From the
it's
authentic
like
supplier of Miami Dolphins,
2000s,
name of the
90s,
team.
so that's pretty
Starter.
cool. Yeah, it really does.
Okay, the votes are on the floor. Let's see who chose what. Red, you chose orange. Green, orange. And blue chose purple. All right, Sean, we're going back to you and see who's right.
Why flippers? Oh, birds, I guess. Hey, yo, yellow's like been to the... Yeah? I forgot about the sitting part. Those are overdubbed. Yeah, it's like, oh, right. Yeah, he's definitely had to run in flippers on the beach. Yeah, this is the, where everything was fucking nasty. Freaking tossed, yeah! And then they have to, oh, right, this is when gross out humor was funny. You forgot your fucking bag of crap! I mean, same. I used to be a bird. Same, I was just like, I'm just gonna go watch Mythbusters. And they're digging through crap. No, fuck you. Go back, do it again. You haven't amused us enough. I'm a 90s kid and I didn't turn out fine. Ah, yeah. Avid Avian.
Oh, I guess the yoke's on some other teams because the team that did win was purple. So the yoke's not on them. Congratulations to purple.
So chat,
Let's see who
after
chose on the
this,
floor.
I do
Red
think I'm
chose
gonna
orange,
hop in
nothing
and
for
play
you.
some Gen
Green
Zero
chose orange,
because
nothing for you.
I
guess
got
what,
some
blue, you chose
fun new
purple.
things,
30
like a
points
puppy.
for you guys. And going into the final round here of the standing. Blue, you got 35
I also need
points
to
for
do
second
some
place.
rival
Green,
hunting.
still no points on the board, but don't worry, we got a third round to go. And Red's in the lead with 100 whopping points. You're still there, folks. Hey, don't go away. We got more Messy Games coming up right after these messages.
Hi, Navy. How you doing? Welcome back. Bites you. Hello.
All right, we're ready for round 3. And guess
Hi, Maybe
what?
Bites
the
You.
team members have changed places, and we've got the other guys with the Punisher. He's awaiting his next victim. All right, Blue, get up here and spin that wheel.
Thank you
got
for
35
shouting
points.
about.
Let's do it, Eileen. See what you can get on this wheel.
Go follow Skycoat.
Eileen, It's
me.
me. Some points. And can she get the points if it stops on Well, she can. If I ask her a question, you get it right, 50 points goes to you. If you get it wrong, well, your partner
dies.
Time,
Your partner dies.
Bacteria was first discovered in 1676 by whom? A Dutch drapery maker, a Swedish cheese maker, an English
I actually
dentist,
don't know this one.
or a Russian butcher.
Swedish cheesemaker.
You say a Swedish cheese maker. I say it's the Dutch drapery maker. Sorry! Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you know that Antony van Leeuwenhoek discovered bacteria when he looked at
The kids were like, I don't fucking care. Take their points away.
his dental plaque under a microscope? Punisher.
Hocus pocus halitosis.
Don't say hocus pocus halitosis.
Oh, wow. Halitosis never looked so good. Thank you very much.
Halitosis also isn't a thing, I'm pretty sure. It was literally invented by fucking mouthwash companies to sell more mouthwash.
Punisher. All right, Green. Linda, get up here and spin that wheel. You got no points, Linda. Let's go. Give it a spin. There it is. All right, 0 points. Linda, we need some points. And it's going around for you. And you, my friend, are going to the dump.
Come
Let's move.
on over to the dump, Linda. Here you go. Take the ball, go on up, pick a pipe and see what you can get.
Yeah, Googling it, halitosis is just a fancy name for bad breath.
Hi, Debbie. 25 points.
Hello.
25 points on the board. Why you raise it to 35?
After this episode, I am going to be switching over to
Good
Gen
job.
0.
All right, it's time for Red to step up and spin the wheel.
Okie dokie.
Get it a big spin, Christian. There you go. Christian and the red team with 100 points.
I will probably have to hop out because
and the red is
I
going round, and
have
guess what?
found
It's
out
speed
that
round. Go to Patricia, Christian.
Gen 0 is like really resource heavy, especially
All right,
when it's
now,
tabbed out.
you have 20 seconds to answer 10 questions to get 5 points for each correct answer. If you know it, say it. If you don't know it, say pass. Are you ready? Starting now. Cows gather in herds, fish gather in.
I don't know.
Wolves come in packs, lions come in.
I don't know.
Christmas comes in.
You're not saying pass, you
Water freezes
idiot.
At what temperature?
I don't know.
Water boils at what temperature?
I don't know.
What's
You just killed your team.
the capital of Canada?
I don't know.
How old are you?
You're supposed to say pass, you goob.
I don't know.
How tall are you?
Aw, the poor kid like completely choked.
I don't know.
What color is most bubble gum?
I don't know.
Spell gum.
I don't know.
Oh, he just kept getting sadder and sadder and sadder.
Let's see how he did with
You can tell it's done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he done? Judges, I'm sorry I
this
didn't
would
catch
have
that. What do we have?
this would have been a
Yeah,
formative
zero.
memory
Okay,
for me in
the
a
goose egg goes
bad
up.
way.
No big deal. It was a good try. I don't know. Was it? All right, let's move on. Blue.
And then you get mocked
we
by
gotta
the
take a look.
idiot with a
Blue, you
liter
got
of
60
fucking
points on
hair
the
gel.
board. Green, you've got 0 points right now, and red, you got 100.
You could see on his face that you could see on his face that he's probably about to cry. He's like demoralized as
Points.
fuck.
Good job. We've got all the points settled. Blue, let's see this spin right here. Let's do it for you. 60 points on the board. You're in
poor
second
kid.
place.
I actually feel
and
bad.
You got
Yeah, he does not look okay.
No, he was about to cry.
Well, they won in this game. That's right. You got 20 seconds to fling these beans onto the brim of the hats that our audience members are wearing. Now, if you can empty this whole bowl and land
And it's all children, so you know they're gonna be absolutely vicious to him.
them beautifully all on those hats in 20
Oh
seconds.
yeah,
50
kids can be
ready. Are you set? Stand right there.
bloodthirsty.
Go, baby, go! All right, you gotta stand back here. You gotta stay there. You gotta stay there.
Yep.
Go for it. Go for it. You gotta hit them all. You gotta hit every hat, baby. Come on, you can do it. Hit that one. Go for it. Come on. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Oh, up there, up there, up there. Oh, up there.
That kid on the right wearing the hat, he does not look comfortable in the blast zone.
Grab one.
No.
Grab some on the ground. Look up there. Oh, beautiful. You know what, Ryan? There's an empty bowl, and you know what? The beans are everywhere. So, buddy, you just got your team 50 points.
A big 50 points for Blue. Ay, caramba, 50 points on the board, and guess what? Blue is just taking the lead with 110 points. Now it is time for Green to step up and spin that wheel. So let's do it, Green. Get up here and spin that wheel. The big spin for Green is coming up. You got no points. Go. There it is. Green's got to get some points, baby. And Green is going round and round and round. And guess what? You are going to the dump. Let's move.
Welcome back to the dump. Going up there, keeping
Welcome back.
points.
I mean, they probably waited it for sure, yeah.
Sorry, you lose 25
But as we know, if
Which
you got
you do not
0,
have.
that's right, we can't take away 25 points from 0. Thank you very much, Green, back to your spot. And now, red is coming up for another spin. So let's
Oh,
do it.
God, no.
There it is. Spinning away.
That poor
100
kid.
down by 10 on behind blue. And here goes red around. Could it be? Could it be trade and spin? Oh, you're lucky.
Oh, God.
Who do you want to trade with? Blue. 100 points goes up to blue. 110 goes down to red. And look at that. Red automatically just retakes the lead. But guess what?
Wait.
Red. Yes, it's trade and spin. So we have another spin, so let's do it. Spin one
Okay,
more
they did
time.
change it off camera.
There it is. Second spin for red, next one round. And you, my friend, are going to speed round. Hey, I don't know. I think it's your favorite.
Yeah,
Let's go.
same.
Come on over,
Like, the few cartoons I did watch as a kid were stuff like Teen Titan. Well, not Teen Titans. That was way later on. But like stuff like Freakazoid and stuff like that, which explains a lot, to be honest.
I know you hate the speed round, but let's try to get you seen some.
No, we're not watching this kid go through this again. No, I am going to show posthumous mercy. We're gonna switch over to Gen 0, everybody. So, oh hi, you can see you. Hi chat. Everybody, give me a second. I am gonna AFK and Tabby, thank you for hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
I figured I might as well switch over to this because I'm going to be playing it off stream. Right? But yeah. Going. This will work. Yeah, that's like formative in a bad way. 0, and then I'll adjust the sound because it's real fucking loud. Everybody, you're gonna see my puppy. You're gonna see Professor Thunderpup. Alright, I'm just grooving. Love me. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's at the 80%. Oh, yo, puppy! Yeah! It heals me while it has a rocket launcher. Thank you! Thank you, Mitzi. That's, so Honey Moss is the creator of Mantle Beast, and that's an art base, they made. Also, if you ever wonder about the species that I am, there you go. There's also a Discord. Mantled Beasts? I'll put it this way. There's not really any lore, because Honey Moss kind of decided that people were following it like scripture too much already, so they were just like, no lore. And they just like, you're supposed to have fun with this, not follow the lore like a fucking Bible. Maybe some oh.
Hello, world. I'm a good boy.
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, friend.
Yeah, Robot.
I like this friend.
Oh, fuck! You know what? We're just gonna have to fuck. We're just gonna have to leave the. Or is the music? I'm gonna. We're gonna switch over. Jesus. Make the world. The music is fine. Please make the world stop blinking. I'm trying. We're just gonna play some Furries in a Blender. I'm glad you're happy. It super was not intentional. So, yeah, the game does that anytime you tab out. I've also found out that it noticeably spools up my GPU fans when I tab out, which ain't great. Okay, I'm gonna add the emotes.
What's up?
And for my friends that play Gen Zero with me, this is for you.
This is fun. Nice here.
Yeah. I'm bluntly gonna say I learned that from Sochi. Like, just straight up, I learned that from Sochi.
How do you do?
Hey! Hell yeah! Okay, where's my nearest rival? Oh, so, Skycoat, you know how that was at, threat level 9? No more stream comms, no. Unless you want to play Gen Zero with me. It got to threat level 10. Yeah, it's a bolty. You'll play? Okay, I'm hopping back in the stream screens then. Give me a second. Welcome back.
What?
So, Ospie. Yeah, it's a bolty, but it's the most British thing ever. You know why? So, this is an experimental bolty. And, what it does is, you see the kind of sighting system it has. No, it's not an Enfield. It's also field artillery. Thank you for the resub! Thank you, Skycoat. I mean, because what's more British than combining bolt-action rifles and field artillery?
Oh, would you be able to invite me?
Yeah, 1 second, bro. Rifle grenade, but a rifle grenade that, with range, the velocity and damage it does increases. So. Okay, time to test to see how loud it is. It's a bit too loud. No, it's not a Delisle it's not a Delisle knockoff, no. I'm actually gonna turn the music off. It's distracting me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry! Oh,
Oh no.
So you know what? Let's test it with the loudest fucking gun in the game. Is that acceptable, chat? So basically, story summary of this game. It's Sweden in the 1980s and robots invaded. Hi, Lauren. Sir.
You
The robot also says hi.
Oh.
I'm rival hunting, so on my ping over here. Can I place a waypoint? Over here on 1. And grab my bike.
Okay.
It's a it's a semi-action. Yeah, or semi-auto.
Survival puppy said hello.
I love that I chose the least efficient way to get over here.
Hi, Huel. I'm so happy to see you.
So happy to see you.
I found the rival.
Oh, my bike is like super fucking dead. Oh. I'm glad you like it. Fuck. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second.
What?
Which one is it? That one.
The one I'm at. I crashed into it.
What? Fuck this. Oh, you're super fucking dead.
No, I'm not.
There, hang on, I need to heal you. Hang on.
Okay. Thank you.
I would say, yeah, you just started.
Good puppy.
Good puppy. Thank you. Wait, you mean your puppy, don't you?
Oh, whatever puppy I just ran by.
You're not me?
Yes, not you.
Oh. Oh, wow. What are you doing, you Clueless? Oh, I'm so full of ammunition that I can't run. No, it's just time to pull out the Mosin. So full of ammo, yum. Target. Target.
No more target.
Target down. Hey, sir, what health percentage are you at?
90.
Come here.
Okay. Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna go find my bike. I ran into survival.
I'm immediately back in combat. The fuck?
Oh, a Battle PM71. Hell yeah.
I get.
You can pick up bikes?
Apparently? That's extremely new. Oh, I have 2 Vosas now.
I want a red bike. Hell yeah.
Can change colors?
Well, I just picked up the red bike from one of the non-rivals.
The gets me! It's just the ammunition. You can make healing ammo. I love the standard ammo. Wait, that just changed the fucking ammunition. I don't understand anymore. That just changed the reload animation. I don't know why.
There's two reload animations for this gun. There is one when you fire like 2 rounds, where you put in just
stripper
2
clip?
rounds.
Yeah, the stripper clip.
And then there's the full stripper clip when you use it all.
Oh, that's really cool. I just got a skill point.
I haven't been using my skill points in a
You
while.
super should.
Oh.
Grab my bike. 32 ACP so it doesn't get
How do I make this active?
Oh, you can reset them once you get, Oh, okay, so, Tavi... Yeah, Tavi, I was gonna say, definitely play this game the way you want, because each of those are, like, a specific skill tree to do what you want. Like, I just pick the ones I like. I will say, definitely try to pick up the lockpicking skill when you can. Thunderpup, you almost killed me.
Yeah, lockpicking is super useful to get more loot. What is the next rival?
Checking. I'm just gonna check my map on my, Or we could take this control point.
Is it blue?
No, it's super red. On 1.
Oh. Oh, okay, I just don't see it. That's why.
It's en route to the, next rival.
Other people. Okay.
God, this game does not behave well on low settings.
Oh.
How'd you do that?
I'm using a controller, so I have more ease of being able to wheelie.
How do you wheelie, though?
Back on the left thumbstick.
That doesn't help.
No, it does not. Because I like to use a controller in this game when I'm just traveling, and then switch to keyboard and mouse when I need to do more fine-tuned combat.
Panorama. Oh yeah, I fully recommend at least giving this game a try. It's real fun. Thank you, puppy. Oh, they do a little dance when they heal you. Fuck!
That's nice.
God, it's like fucking Band of Brothers up in here. Except I'm Agender, and it's not World War II. And they're robots, not Germans.
Hey there. Oh, you're not dead yet. Can you now be dead? Thank you.
Stop shooting me!
Puppy can heal me.
Let me help you.
Oh, puppy is dead.
Oh no, he says ow!
Hell yeah, I just picked up some more ammo for my gun.
On my ping, or like where I'm shooting. South, south,
Yeah,
south.
I see
Yeah.
it.
Too high. Oh no! Oh, shoot the rockets! Shoot the rocket launchers on their side. Oh right. Where is the beach?
And it's down.
More.
Just a small volley boys or
No.
back out.
It's gone. I shot it. It's dead. Oh! Oh! Oh wow, I am extremely over encumbered. Thank you, Poppy, for healing. Poppy's strong.
Puppy. View inventory.
You need
Hey, no
to
puppy.
find me a fucking safe house. Oh, there's one en route.
Okay.
Back. Ow. There we go. On one.
Danger.
Danger. My bike's. Oh, we need to leave.
What's happened?
Your puppy likes picking fights. Your other puppy.
Oh, okay. My metallic. Well, they're both metallic.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna trudge over with my Mosin.
At least I was able to run for a small little bit of time.
Yeah, Sauceby, what's up?
Oh no, puppy's down.
Yeah, the missile strike. What about it?
Oh, fuck. Heal me, baby.
I like it here.
Balls.
I like this vacuum.
Can I have an artillery strike on this position, Oval? There we go.
Yeah, I turned maximum effort off.
Woo!
How do you do? What's up?
They might be, but I would say wait, because those aren't set up right now.
Where's the combat? Is that you?
What the fuck?
What just happened?
I'm in combat. I'm just trudging towards the safe house again. I'm gonna clutch
I'm
my AK
trudging-
and walk. Wow, that sounded weird. What the fuck do I have these for? Never mind, I'm good.
Oh. Okay.
So, Tavi, my puppy is the one who heals me. Need to give it more heal.
Can I get out?
Oh, that's how.
Don't shoot, sir.
What happened?
Something was trying to shoot at you, so I murdered it.
Oh.
Okay, that is
Okay.
that is fair. We also arms. Sir and I have the DLC that like gives the cute voices and everything. It's an additional like $7, but it's worth it because it like gives you a couple extra modules.
Okay, I'm leaving you, bike.
We're also playing on the easiest difficulty right now, just because I want to have fun.
Yeah. Mine might be normal difficulty, but I forget if it's easy or the normal.
So
my
adventure
game.
is the easy mode, skirmish is the regular difficulty, and then I almost said gorilla is the hardest. I think maybe.
This isn't the safe house. This is the bloody.
Yeah, because I said I was good and I shifted.
Okay.
With the safe house, if you want to go to it, is over here. On one.
I'll need to do that.
Okay, let's keep moving then.
Okay.
I'm en route to the safe house.
I'm at. Ah.
Sure about that, sir?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I am just an idiot, Tavi.
Hello there, enemy, doggo. How may I help you? Hey. Ooh, flashlight. Oh, that was a mistake. Mistake rectified.
My action provided good support, sir.
I think so. it.
Support. Goodbye, sir.
Eat. Eat. Woo. Oh, shit. What just fucking happened?
The turrets have things that can like blow you up on the side.
Yep.
Oh wow, I kind of fucked this area up a bit.
Walk fastly. Oop.
Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, oh.
Yeah, don't stand too close to them.
Oh, oh. Die, you bitch. You're not dead yet. Hehe. Gets
Puppy
behind
is all
you.
the way over here. Don't know why.
Oops.
We need to find the final heckin' thing. Jesus!
Oh.
It's like getting bullied in the not fun way.
All easier.
Oh, I'm like out of ammo too. Shit, I'm out of everything. Backing off. I'm trying to clear a path. No, my puppy died!
Oh, I see what the thing is.
Guess we're committing to taking this shit out now. I'm like out of ammo though.
I'll be able to take it down, I think.
Okay, yeah, the command center is the only thing left. If you got explosive, chuck it at the big thing.
Yeah, I just need to find where the big thing is.
In the middle, you can chuck things over the wall. It's the big spinny tower thing.
Come on.
And then let the shields. Yeah, we got this. Keep me alive, please. I'm over here.
Oh, okay.
Let the shields reset. And they spawned enemies. Watch out. That's what those boxes are. It's almost dead.
Yep.
Focus on staying alive. Once we take it out, hey!
What about that?
Everything dies in the area.
Oh.
Yo, what the fuck did I just get? I just got an extreme. You know what I just got?
No.
Experimental electric LMG.
Nice.
Schematics, experimental. What do I want to get next?
Filter.
Ugh.
Oh, was it the experimental KBM89?
Yeah.
I also just got that.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, let's and that brought down the area to threat level 4 from 7. So let's move on. I can't claim this, by the way. I don't have the points for it.
Oh, claim it. Got it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the freaking safe house so I can craft and like unload some stuff and get some I have an electric LMG, so I don't have any repair kits.
Oh, come heal. I might have one.
By my puppy.
Oh, come to me. One repair kit.
I'm coming, puppy!
Oh, gauge, aluminum, I don't use that.
Let me hear you.
Yes, please, puppy! Thank you!
Shot.
Hello, puppy.
Oh, how you doing?
Oh, how you doing?
Yay, I can run around again.
Whee.
I loaded up my puppy.
Fuck, that's right, you can do that.
What's going on?
Get all my healing stuff, puppy.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing good, puppy.
Yeah, I give them all my simples and advanced and use the standards.
I give them the standard and the advanced and use the simples and emergency. Because otherwise it takes too long for the kind of playstyle I do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stupid and aggressive.
It's pretty in here. I like it here.
I'm glad.
This place is still mined, by the way, so do be careful.
What?
There are some mines still in the area.
I don't see. It says, and then explodes. Yeah, there's nothing there for me.
I hold one ticking off, so it's like in between the walls.
This game has had some sound glitches lately, I've noticed.
Huh.
I am so low on ammo.
Yeah, I just switched over from ammo piercing to normal rounds for the machine gun.
I'm like out of ammunition. I'm having to use my fucking like actual backup sidearm. It's 32 ACP, so I'm fucked.
You must have been burning through more ammo than I've been.
So the companion accessory pack, maybe it adds. So have you seen how this puppy has been healing me? It adds a scout module, it adds a scavenger module, and it adds the medic module. Also, you get a lot of cosmetics, and it is how my puppy can speak English. It adds voices. It also like gives you enough points to unlock all of the different kinds of armor. I would definitely say craft ballistic armor. It has been the best and most useful. I'd say it's worth it for sure.
And easiest to craft.
Yeah. Yeah, it usually they throw some stuff in that's useful, even if it just like the armor thing speeds up, because like the only way you can get points for leveling up stuff is by just hanging out and murdering stuff with your puppy. Humpty Tom.
I like it here.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend for $7, get it if you can reasonably afford it easily. I'm traveling to the safe house, sir.
Okay.
Actually, since you can fast travel,
I cannot.
You cannot?
No.
Over encumbered?
Yes.
Follow me, I guess. There's a relay beacon down there. I must kill it.
Okay.
I don't have the ammo. Can you enjoy this game without DLC? The base game is really pretty fun. I would like the except for the 2 story DLC, everything else is like weapons, and like the puppy is a free DLC, is like a free update. It adds stuff. I would say eventually definitely get at least the 2 story DLC, but yeah, it's really fun. It is very much of a midi kayak game of just fuck around for like 10 hours killing shit. Also, the heavy caveat of the stuff I play on stream, yeah, not necessarily, like, it adds guns and stuff, yeah. There are 2 DLCs that are story, though, which I heavily recommend because it adds to... It doesn't skip progression, like... What it does is it, like, gives you these...
Help!
I can't. It gives me, it gives you points to unlock these first tiers so you can start, and that's it. It's usually like guns or cosmetics. Oh, you killed the beacon. Cool.
Collaterally.
Oh, okay.
Can you start shooting on me? On my position?
I am 250 meters away, sir.
Okay. Thought you might have still had some more artillery rounds.
No. Well,
okay.
I have like 17.
Okay.
Oh,
You're not dead
okay.
yet.
Fair, maybe. That is definitely fair. I gave you a 4-star 50 BMG. You can kill God now. Oh, just you wait till you meet the first enemy where you're like, oh, that didn't really do anything. Yes, sir, please make your way towards me.
Okay.
I have 11 rounds of artillery. Well, I have 12 rounds of...
pretty much good now.
Okay, make your way to me, please.
Alright.
Kabobble!
Kabobble! I reached level 50 in the post office game.
Bobble, guess what? Bobble, guess what? Puppy is rebelling.
Oh.
What's going on?
I can't emote? What?
I broke down.
Let's just move on.
At least I'm somewhat on trajectory. Oh.
So, Tavi, I literally was just given by the game gods for taking over that point a shock LMG. And this right here is a rifle that uses standard 270 rounds, but is field artillery.
A man, bunko.
I like this weapon.
Let me craft some ammo and I will show you. It's a zappy gun. Yeah, yeah, a shoulder-fired howitzer, literally. As range increases, so does the velocity of the round and the damage it does. Tavi, you just started. It's totally fine. I got this stuff from killing stuff.
Hell yeah.
And Sir has an experimental rocket launcher right here.
Yeah. I was going to actually try to join you, Tavi, since I saw you playing the game. But by the time I was going to join you, you went offline.
You sunk 12 hours into this game? I mean, we could hang out. I'm gonna fast travel to Boo Church.
Okay, I'm just dropping off some of the things.
Tavi, you also have to realize that I have an extremely aggressive playstyle where I hoard the revives and then just throw myself at the enemy like a freaking guardsman from Warhammer.
Yeah. Okay, which am I looking for? 762. Good on that. Do I not have any 762 in my?
I crafted a fuck ton. Like most, like I don't care. I don't worry about ammo very much anymore because I can just make it.
Yeah, I have 1,700 rounds of FMJ, but I like to use ammo piercing if I can.
Oh yeah, Tavi, that's how I like progress so quickly. Is I just run around with those idiots. I need steel and I need textile, because like once you unlock all of the crafting stuff, you can just make them, and it's just tungsten and yeah. I am gonna make more medical ammo.
I will say hold on to the tungsten until you fully upgrade your storage station, because you need 20 to upgrade that.
Yeah.
So how are you doing?
Okay. Puppy. Oh wait, repair kit. Do I have repair kits?
Only 50 round box, but that makes sense because it's fucking bonkers.
No. Okay. Do I see? No. Where did you go? Over here. Consumable.
I'm just gonna put a 5-star machine gun silencer on it. And the optics are good enough, to be honest. Let's go find something to kill, please. Oh, this is what it does when someone loads in. They just keep swapping weapons until they actually load in. Very funny. What? Make the wrong thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I made the wrong fucking thing. Cool. Me crafting some more artillery shells. I don't do base building. I just ignore it. Sir does it, but I hate doing it. I see it as a waste as well.
The only good thing about base building is that it can lower the threat level, and you can get some
yeah, that's how we
things
got
from it.
Yeah. Also, how many grenades did I make? 53 grenades. I need to actually vary my loadout a bit, because I'm using 3 things.
Oh,
that
right.
use 7
Repair kits.
There we go. So the reason we are living so much is because it's on the easiest difficulty, and every weapon I have here is at least a 3-star. I'm gonna go commit violent. No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm gonna walk back in here and put stuff.
1, 2.
The ominous zappy noises make me smile.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We're gonna put away this loop gun, and then we're gonna put away the AK. And it's not. We're not gonna get. Well, these we'll get rid of quickly. We're gonna store these for sure. This for sure. This. This Skycoat launching devices. And then I'm gonna go find something to kill.
Okay.
And yes, it is bluntly a giant resource sink.
I'm already in combat.
Where are you, sir? Oh.
What? My puppy almost killed me by destroying all of the cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, they do that. They're clumsy little goobers. It's cute.
Thank you for being able to heal me, puppy.
Is there a companion station here? Okay, I can't craft more ammo. Yeah, come here. Come on. Come on, find me. Come on, find me. Come and get me.
This way. Truck.
Yeah, exactly. That's... yeah. I like the machine gun. What's on the 2-point?
Rival. And there was a base all along the way.
We got the base. Overconfident.
Okay, I think I can see it right up ahead. You need to go up about 20. Yeah, you're basically on target. Damn. Let's open up this wall.
Puppy!
Shit. Okay, I see it.
Where is it? Basically, stand when you unlock a shield generator.
Oh, I didn't even need to open it up. Okay, back away.
I am literally walking field artillery. This is fucking great.
Get the command center.
Hang on. Okay, I'm in combat.
I just need line of sight. Which I do not have yet. Creating line of sight. Fucking hell.
Let me know if I'm on target.
I can't tell right now. You know if you're doing damage to it.
Fuck! Yep, I'm on target.
Okay. Yeah, come on. Drop it. Stop your shooting. You're slightly off.
I mean, it did the splash damage. Hey! That was fucking awesome.
Carpet skin.
I didn't get anything from it because I wasn't in the mission zone, but I don't care.
Aww. There's some lingering. I like how this 7.62 sniper rifle that I have is better than everything else that I have for snipers for bolt action.
Why can't I claim you? I have 10 points still. Oh, because I did. Yeah, I just bluntly didn't get credit for it.
Oh.
I love.
Oh,
this
that's
thing.
a big boy.
Yeah, it's a large man. Shoot the rocket pods on the sides.
Okay.
Because those are the biggest threat. So I like this machine gun. I really like this machine gun.
Yeah.
This is 7.62.
Whoa!
Okay, 2 is still a good spot for the rival.
So basically, I could just provide artillery support. Really? You're gonna challenge me? Okay. You killed my dog, I kill you!
Okay, John.
Oh my god, it arcs!
I might have put mine up, but I might need to see if over.
Yeah, because it arcs between enemies when they're close.
Nice.
It only has a 50 box, but that's fucking fine.
I'm wondering if it can take the things from the 240 Bravo.
It could take the machine guns. I don't have a repair kit to fix my puppy.
Oh, come to me.
1 second, I'm looting their corpses. What's up?
You. On the ground. I'm going to go and go be a stupid.
What does that mean? I'm gonna go back to my I don't think I have an extended KMV. I think I scrapped my fucking. I don't have an extended mag for the KVM.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it does that much damage with just the 50 round box.
Dang.
Yeah, I think after we kill this rival, depending on how long it takes, I'm gonna call it. I had no idea we've been going for about 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately the sale that a lot of my friends got... Hang on, I want to do something. It's really stupid.
Nope.
Okay, so what they did is they limited the maximum effective range this fucker has.
Yeah, on my position, basically.
I'm gonna try to bracket. Give me a second. No. It doesn't have enough lob.
Down. Thank you, puppy.
Just kill it.
I killed something. I don't think it was survival.
Yeah, let me get a hit in at least, okay?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm basically on target. So
Oh,
yeah.
the rival is in a different area. These are all non-rivals.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the rival's way further on. You're really gonna challenge me? Ooh, if you're too close, it arcs to you. Okay, good to know.
Well, I don't get fire.
No, I mean it like arcs to yourself.
Oh, okay.
fight it out now. I took away your long range capability. Actually, you know what? It is dead. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Another grenade for the meaty giant.
So basically, my effective range is about... Yes! Good! I have an extended mag for my medic pistol, which is a weird thing to say.
Oh, Flatboy just came in to ill space.
You know what? I'm just gonna start raining fire on him.
Okay.
That's a pistol. Up more. Fire. Fire.
Oh, there's 2 Flyboys.
Yup, they always travel in pairs, I've noticed. 3 rounds rapid, yup.
This one right here in front of me is the one.
Which one? Can't see. Like directly in front?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm out of effective.
Oh, fucking hell.
And Flyboy needs to fucking die.
Stay on me, Pop.
Oh, hey, I hit the ass! Yeah, effective's about 200 meters. 200-300 meters. I love this fucking rifle so fucking much.
Have you touched the rifle yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep firing till everything's dead.
Come on, Pop.
Not even gonna sight it now. I wanna see. Okay, it's time to get a bit more direct.
I'll help you.
Thank you, puppy. Oh, they took you out. Shit.
Yep.
I'm approaching.
Oh, Puppy's dead again. Where's that down?
Oh, it's level 4. Shit. I've definitely gotten multiple hits in. We're good.
Okay. Come on, boy. You need to be up. You need to heal me.
Yeah! Oh! Now I just need to clear the area. Oh, that fucker's dead.
Thank
You know
you,
what?
puppy.
Fuck this. Frag out. I just got an experimental 50 BMG.
Oh yeah.
What does this fucker do? Let's see. Increase muzzle velocity and penetration. Making it efficient against armor and semi-automatic, making it quicker to use.
Was that off of the
Rival? Yeah.
Aw, I didn't get it this time.
I have 3 experimental weapons now. This is a good day. This is a fucking cyberpunk gun. Oh my god, it's a 10-round mag too. Hang on, there's a relay point somewhere. I'm full of shit right now. I mean, my inventory is full. Puppy, you can't hit shit.
Damn.
Yeah, it really does. And then it... Hang on.
That looks really cool.
Whatever sound designer made this thing, I love you. Puppy, you were trying to shoot that fucker with a shotgun.
Are you shotgun puppy?
No, it's trying to shotgun shit that's like over 100 meters away.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make my way back to a safe house.
Okay.
And then we're gonna take out one more rival, and then I think I'm gonna call it, okay?
Okay.
Rival is on waypoint.
Okay.
Can you place a waypoint on the Averholm cave, please?
Shit. Remove size. There we go. Fight me. You won't.
Bip. Bip.
Oh yeah, I'm getting towards 2. Hello, big mechanical dude.
Oh, I have multiple
damage.
landmines, by the way. But I can fast travel now. Fuck. I can't. I'm in combat. Fuck. I'm almost dead. Fuck. I just got... I'm out of ammo, too! Fuck! You know what? Fuck this. I'm fast traveling. Don't worry.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's one way to get around that, I guess.
Dying? Yeah. And I can't...
Do it the long way, I suppose.
I can't press E on the storage thing, which is really annoying.
Weird.
Yeah. Like, at all. What the fuck? It's actually extremely annoying. I'm gonna fast travel again. Got prior orders. Prior orders. Yeah.
Where is the entrance?
I'm moving to I'm moving to a different point to see if I can use the fucking E. Yeah, I can't. That was fucking weird.
Okay. So I have to use this one.
Okay. I just scrapped that ammo. Fuck, this isn't a storage room.
I'm going to need to switch that. Where? Duh.
Alright, let's make more 50 BMG.
Oh, come here.
I can't press E on the storage space now? What the fuck? Okay, yeah, after this, we're just gonna beeline it to the fucking, rival, so I can mess around with my, super secret, super cool experimental bullshit.
Okay.
Also, the experimental weapons have their own category for attachments that they can use. Like, they're listed as their own thing.
In the...
Yeah, they'll say
What?
experimental around it. Not.
Total... Medical...
You give me urban camo Flecktarn for this thing. Game, I love you. Am I carrying fucking two Mosins?
Attachments... Nope, experimental cannot take... Well, because this isn't... This is the 5.56. And not the 2.0. That makes sense.
Oh no, it's a dead bike.
Yeah. I was over encumbered, so I tried to get healed the fastest way I could.
Yeah. Yeah, the game's starting to get unhappy. I can tell.
Okay.
So... I'm going to travel to Boo Church and then just beeline it, okay?
Okay.
Ugh. So basically I have a 50 BMG railgun and I also put AP ammo in it.
Nice.
Yeah, this thing is mean. I love how it charges like that. That's...
Okay, and you can still... Are you going towards survival?
Yeah. Traveling up from Boo Church.
Oh, that survival. Gotcha.
Yeah. And they already seem to know I'm here. Yeah, I'm moving towards one.
Okay.
We're basically in an active combat zone, so... I mean, you can fucking hear that we are, but yeah.
Thermal operation accuracy, stability, and damage increase as this weapon heats up, overheating, low end weight, and off-level.
Did I wait,
Oh,
sir?
my ex... No. I was just confused for a moment. That was all. I am coming out as soon as I find the exit.
On me, but with spacing.
Okay.
I am gonna wait a bit because you're almost 200 away.
Okay.
You're at the distance where I can't really help you if something happens.
Well, I'm also right outside the church, so you can continue.
Okay. I'll wait. get going.
My experimental machine gun is different than yours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
That's
actually,
what I was
yeah.
confused about.
That's even cooler, because that means... Oh, it's you. Whoa! I can basically take off their attachments in one hit.
Damn.
This thing is fucking terrifying and I fucking love it.
This thing operates off of heat. So the hotter it is, the more accurate it becomes.
No, it's the opposite of how real guns work.
Yes.
I just killed that thing by myself.
Nice.
I do too. I love this thing. So, Kabobble, you know that, like, the big tech in my universe is fucking coil guns. This right here, this would be an internal security weapon. Oh.
Oh.
Oh my god. Okay, we're adding ranger units to the fucking internal security. Yeah, I just got zeroed by a fucking, like, anti-vehicle rocket. Your weaknesses. Okay, yeah, internal security ranger units are gonna be a thing now. Where's your fucking... Where's that coming from?
Why?
Ah, joy! And you're fucking dead! Ooh, and it's nice and foggy now, too. What, you think I can't get you because you're close? That was the worst possible way I could have said that. Oh my god. I'm in love with this weapon loadout. Holy shit. I am buppyless, by the way, so...
Oh dear.
Yeah. Fine though. I have not very many health packs. Alright, making my... Oh, it is horror game.
I'm just trying to get to the rival.
Same. Like, I love that this just made the game objectively easier, but it's still really fun. What are you doing?
Walking.
Not you, the thing's shooting at you that's not alive anymore.
Puppy. Be quiet.
You're getting chased by a big boy.
I know this.
To need? No. I will say stuff like I said, I would recommend getting the 2 story DLC, but other than that, it like adds stuff like extra weapons. Like this weapon is part of the base game. Probably. I will say that you should get the companion DLC as well, because that allows the puppies to heal you. But, like, basically, except for the story DLC and the companion DLC, I would say just pick and choose what you want. Because there's, like, a thing that adds more motorbikes. I really like what they do, because when they add a paid DLC, usually they will give you, like, a worse version of it, but you do get one for free. Like, the motorbike DLC, which is a paid DLC, they give players that can't afford it, they just give them, like, a free moped that they can use.
Yeah.
I love that this game just caused me to add new lore to my tabletop RPG. A fucking IS fucking ranger units that just have these massive fucking things that can, like, I don't know, fucking take out vehicles.
I'm an immaculate lion. Huh.
Yeah, that's what your thing says. I love
I forgot that you could set that up on us.
Maybe. Huh?
It's maybe. Might see it.
For ways off, but it is straight ahead. It's level 4 C14. It's a walker boy. It's a hunter.
Yeah, let me take a look at it real quick.
Should be black, white, and red.
Okay.
Thank you, Maybe. I really appreciate it. No, that I don't think that's them. That's the type we're looking for, but yeah, it's not them. They travel in packs, so we got to be careful. Okay. I'm gonna get up and get some verticality.
Yeah, we have to walk around this mountain anyway.
So I should not go in the fence.
No.
I'm gonna get verticality, obviously, because I can provide sniping. I can provide sniping, fire, and artillery support all at the same time as one person. Well, not at the same time, but facing back, up. Like they're picking fights with shit, though.
Yeah.
The sound design in this game is fucking amazing. Raptor, hello, hun.
Lots of hunters.
Lots of hunters. We're just looking for the one that has the fucking name. It's Ulven C413. It's in the settlement.
Okay.
On one. One is more accurate now. It's in the building. So we need to... I'm doing well. Direct, indirect, fire support. Direct and indirect... I'm a weapons platform. I'm doing well. After we kill this rival, we're probably going to end, though.
Okay.
I love the hum this thing makes. It's like the world's most dangerous disposable camera.
Come here.
Oh, no.
Okay, you awful.
Got me, I see orders. Fire's getting kind of close, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move higher up. I'm behind you.
Okay. I'm just walking directly to.
That's getting real close. If we get discovered, we're fucked, basically.
I see it.
Yeah.
Behind the house.
Which house?
Behind.
Reference the one marker for me. I don't have visual.
Watch my file.
Oh, I was in. Got him.
Good.
Wow, that took 5 shots of regular.
I don't think I got something from that since I might have not hit it. Oh well.
No, you made contact.
Oh well, I didn't get the apparel thingy or whatever.
True. body, then we're gonna back off. Nope, we're in
Yeah.
combat. Alright, time to go loud. Unless I'm not in combat? Okay, I didn't get anything for that, I didn't get anything special except stomps. So are we going
Okay.
loud or are we backing off?
Oh, backing off. We're not in combat.
Yes, we are.
Well, now we are.
Well, yeah, it was rushing me. Okay, yeah, Okay, now let's back off. But the negative of this LMG is if I am too close, it arcs to me and hurts me. Sir, you can back off.
Yeah. I just backed into a house.
They're looking
That's
for
all.
us. Watch out. There's a... He's coming towards you. Hunter. Yep, he sees you.
Yeah.
He saw you. Yeah, I'm gonna fast travel to Boo Church, and then we're gonna end. Thank you for helping me murder, sir.
Yes. Where is the nearest one?
I just went to Boo Church. Yeah. Turn the game off. All right, I'm gonna close the instance. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Bep. Bep. All right, everybody.
Hopefully it gets me next to a thingy for me.
Yeah. Of course, I'm always happy to stream. I'm glad to be back. Also, everybody, I don't have to ramble on about my schedule anymore because, there you go. So next stream will be Thursday for VRC fun, and then Sunday will just be whatever the hell I want, probably more Gen Zero. So everybody, we're gonna look for something great. Who's live? Divis is live. But we haven't. Oh, there's so many of my friends live. Yeah. You know what? We rated Divis last time. Divvy ending soon. Thank you. Not a. Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for my return from what I thought was going to be a massive hiatus, but just turned out to be a little weak mental health break. What's your raid macro? I don't have one. I'm gonna hit the button. Okay, everybody. Say hi to Corgus. Say